Job interviews. Just hearing those two words can make your heart beat a little faster, right? But what if I told you it's not some big, scary mystery? What if it's actually a skill, something you can learn, practice, and get really, really good at? Well, let's dive in and see if we can turn that interview anxiety into total confidence.
So you've spent hours polishing your resume, you've sent out a bunch of applications, and then it happens. You get that email, "We'd like to invite you for an interview." And if your first thought is that little knot forming in your stomach, hey, you're not alone. That is a completely normal reaction, and it's exactly what we're going to tackle today.
All right, here's our game plan. We're going to break this whole thing down. First, we'll look at the application two-step. Then, we'll cover everything you need to do before you walk in. After that, we'll talk about the conversation itself, how to close with confidence, and finally, why you should think of all this as a skill you can totally master.
Okay, first things first. You've got to understand that getting a job isn't just one big hurdle. Nope, it's really a two-part journey. It's about getting from being just words on a piece of paper to being a person in a room.
And it all kicks off with this, your CV, or your resume. The best way to think about this document? It's your professional highlight reel. It's a quick summary of your education and your work history, all designed to do one thing: grab an employer's attention and make them say, I want to talk to this person. And this is such a crucial distinction to understand. Your CV, your resume, its only job is to get you in the door. That's it. But the interview? That's the main event. That's where you stop being a piece of paper and you become a salesperson. And the product you're selling is you. Your job is to tell your story and show them exactly why you're the solution they've been looking for. So, you did it. Your CV worked, and you've landed the interview. Awesome. Now this is where the real work begins, because what you do before you ever walk into that room is what sets the stage for success. Success in an interview is almost never about luck. It's about homework. Seriously, first you have to research the company. Know what they do, inside and out. Second, figure out the logistics. Know exactly where you're going. Maybe even do a practice run the day before so there are no surprises. Third, get your stuff together. Bring extra resumes, a notepad, a pen. And finally, dress for success. Remember, they're forming an impression of you before you even say hello. Look, I know a lot of this stuff seems kind of obvious, but all these little details really add up. We're talking clean hair, clean nails, and please go easy on the perfume or cologne. The goal is super simple. You want to look polished and professional. Your appearance should say, I take this seriously, but you don't want it to be a distraction. Just think clean, classic, and professional. Okay, you're prepared, you look the part, you've arrived. Now you're in the room, sitting across from them. Deep breath. This is showtime. Let's talk about how to make the right impression during the actual conversation. This is basically your cheat sheet for interview behavior. The do's are all about being engaged, right? Use their names, make eye contact, and actually listen to the questions. Show some energy. The don'ts are about avoiding red flags. Don't slouch, don't fidget, and this last one is so important. Don't try to just overwhelm them with everything you know. You want to be confident for sure, but not arrogant. It's a fine line. And that brings us to maybe the single most important rule of all. Be honest. This quote really nails it. Sure, you might be able to stretch the truth and get the job, but you'll have to live with that lie. Trust me, authenticity is always the winning strategy in the long run. And hey, let me tell you a little secret. It is 100% okay if you don't know the answer to a question. Don't panic. Don't try to make something up. The most powerful and confident thing you can do is just say, that's a great question, and I don't have the answer to that right now. It shows integrity. And that's way more impressive than pretending you know everything. All right, the conversation is starting to wind down, but don't relax just yet. How you handle these last few minutes is critical. It can leave a powerful, lasting impression. Let's make sure it's a good one. And then you hear it, the classic closing line. So, do you have any questions for us? It always feels like a pop quiz at the end of a test, doesn't it? But this isn't just a formality. This is a huge strategic opportunity. So here's a brilliant three-part way to handle it. First, you show you were listening. Say something like, actually, between my own research and everything you've shared, you've answered my main questions for now. Second, you keep the door open. Would it be right if I called you if I think of something later? But part 3, this is the real power move. You pivot. You say, actually, could I take just 30 seconds to re-emphasize why I'm so excited about this role? It's your last chance to sell yourself. And as you're getting ready to leave, 2 last things. First, a simple, sincere thank you for their time.
It goes a long way. And second, this is a great pro tip. As you shake their hands, give each interviewer another fresh copy of your resume. It's a small, professional gesture that helps keep you top of mind after you've left the building.
So we've walked through the whole process from the first application to that final handshake. But what's the one big idea you should take away from all this? Well, it all comes down to a fundamental shift in how you think about interviews.
And this is it. This is the whole ballgame right here. Interviewing isn't about crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. It's not about luck. It is a technique. It's a skill. And just like any other skill, it's something you can study, you can practice, and you can absolutely master.
When you prepare, when you're mindful of how you act, and when you close with purpose, you're the one in control. You stop just answering questions, and you start telling your story. So now that you have the playbook, the real question is, what story are you going to tell?